Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 9, Episode 12. DJI Avata 360 releases this week. I hope everyone is well. We got a full house in here tonight. Let's see who else we got. USA Drone Flyer Joe America's here. Dole's Drones is here. Droney Oki is here. 7-3 is my friend. Hope you're doing well. Let's see who else we got. Drone Shots, Jody, welcome. Let's see who else. RJ Redding, welcome. Good to see you. Johnny is here. Welcome, Johnny. RJ Redding. I think I saw John Flynn. Welcome, John. Carlos Moran. Welcome, Carlos. Steve Porter. Welcome. Let's see. Sergeant Rock. Welcome. Let's see who else we got. A full house in here. Greg Pittman. Welcome, Greg. Let's see who else we have here. Captain Ray is here. All right, Dale's Drones Action Cam. All right, hope everyone's doing well. Great show last night on Drone Nation. Great show. I was able to. It's about my bedtime around then because the time I have to get up for work. So, but I stayed with it through pretty much till the end, and it was a great show, great discussion last night. You guys had a great time last night. I always, yeah. It's probably the only drone show that I can catch during the week because, it's like after work, I collapse, we eat dinner, maybe watch a hockey game if hockey's on that night, or watch some, bit show that we binged on and then pack it in. That's just kind of the way things are. So, okay. And I'll put in a shameless plug for Captain Ray, coming up second weekend in April is the South Florida Drone Meetup. There is a Facebook group out there, or message Captain Ray if you need information on that. It's at Jensen Beach. It's been where it's been for the past 4 or 5 years, I believe. Going to be a good time. It'd be a lot of fun. And like I said, a lot of guys talking about, what drone are you bringing and everything. You know what? It's like, okay, I'm not bringing a drone. I'm bringing Valerie. Okay, something a whole lot better than a drone right there. Okay. But no, that's me personally. Okay, I can fly my drone 365 days a year by myself, but that 364th or 365th, one of them, I'm going to spend time talking to you guys, rubbing shoulders with you, having fun, and that's what we're going to do. It's going to be a great time. Hope everyone can make it if you can. Weather's been really good here in Florida lately. It's really kind of perked up. Had a little bit of a cold spell about a week or so ago, but that's kind of seemed to pass us by. And as Ron got here, the weather started getting better. So Ron, thank you for coming in. I'll make sure to mention that coming up here. So and if you caught it, Ron was out with Captain Ray and several others. They caught the sunset. They caught the sunrise this morning. So that's awesome. I hope when I get to the point of being able to hang up my my work laptop and everything and saying goodbye to Publix, that I'll be able to start doing things like that, which I'm looking forward to. So, all right, hope everybody's doing well tonight. We've got a lot to talk about, and I want kind of want to prepare you guys for what's coming up with the Avata 360. But first of all, I'm telling you, I got lost with the number of sales that DJI is having right now. Seriously, it is just like off of the incredible charts here. Okay. First of all, we're going to go to look and see there are gimbals that are on sale, and we're going to take a look and see what DJI has on sale with gimbals. Now, I'm not a DJI Osmo Mobile kind of guy. I'd rather just hold the camera myself. So, but Osmo Mobile 8 126 was 149. 7P is 99 was 129, and Osmo Mobile 7 is 59, was 75. And they have a lot of features. The 7P, you can evidently control that from your watch. I think it's mostly just turning it on and off kind of function. So, but yeah, that's for sale if you're into that. The one thing for me with the Osmo mobiles, it wasn't that I didn't like them. It was cumbersome putting the phone on and taking it off, and almost all the time you would have to take the case off to do that as well too. So really having something like that only works, in my opinion, is if you leave that phone set up all the time for that. Because, back in the day, I had to rebalance it and things, and it was just a real headache and a hassle. I ended up sending it back because it worked. There was no question about that. It's just, the logistics in getting it to work. And I really haven't seen that change over the years. So that's just me. That's just who I am. So, okay. All right. Next, we're going to take a look. What we're going to do is, we're going to be taking a look at the drones that DJI has on sale right now. And like I said, it's incredible what they have available right now for sale. So let's go ahead and yeah. Well, at least I'm not having the problems I had last week. Okay. And I wanted to apologize for that. That it will not happen again. That was Moa's fault. Okay. DJI Flip now cheaper than many beginner drones. Let's see what we're looking at here. The controller free Flip bundle now available for $309, down from $389. Let's see about other deals. The RCN3 controller or the higher end RC2 with a built-in display, which you'll end up paying more for. DJI Flip controller free 2 battery kit, $309. DJI Flip with the RCN3 is $349. The Flip with the RC2 controller is $509, and the Flip Fly More combo with the RC2 is $619. And those are all great prices compared to what they have been. And I mean, it's just, and the beat goes on because there's a couple more things we got to talk about as well too here. So let's see if I can find all these here. Yeah, it's just like I said, the beat goes on with this. It's just amazing all that they have on sale right now. And okay. Welcome, Dr. Ted, and welcome, Brad, and welcome, Art. Good to see you guys. Thanks for stopping in. DJI's smallest drone has gotten cheaper over on Amazon, the DJI Neo. DJI's cheapest drone. It's for a short time having a $50 coupon available on Amazon, bringing the price to just $150. Okay, that's just absolutely, positively crazy right here. Was $199 on the Amazon's coupon. The price is just $149. All you need to do is just click the coupon in the checkout, and you can get it. It's yours. So, I can't say enough about the Neo 2. And if you wanted to get your feet wet with a DJI drone, I could not see anything better. Now, I think this is the last article on drones. No, there's 2 more. Okay, there's one more after this one here. So, all right. And not to be outdone, the DJI Avata 2 is on sale. Discounts up to $340. The Avata 2 suddenly looking like one of the best value FPV drone deals you can grab right now. And let's take a look and see if we can see some prices here. It's listing the differences. Okay, the Fly Smart Combo single battery is now $526. The Fly Smart Combo 3 batteries now $699. The Fly More Combo battery goggles 3 now $719. And Fly More combo 3 batteries goggles 3 now $859. So that's a great deal. I mean, if you were looking to get the Avata 2 at a good price, that's a really, really good deal right now. And then, not to be outdone here, there's another one that's on sale. I mean, these are. I mean, if you can afford it, If you were looking for any of these drones before and you didn't have any of them, or you want to take a step up, everything that I've talked about is absolutely fantastic. Now, here's another one here, and this one's really kind of too good to pass up. The DJI Mini 3, it's now dipped to $299. Yeah, $299. Let's go ahead and take a look and see. The version with the DJI RC, DJI's built-in screen controller, is at $379. Step up to the Fly More combo at $499. Okay, so those are absolutely, positively fantastic deals here. All right. And let's see if I've gotten them all. Yeah, that's it. Wow. I mean, that's a lot. That is a lot. That is a lot of drones that DJI has on sale right now. Of course, we got the Avata 360 happening this week, and Ron and I are going to spend some time talking about that. Also on Thursday, I'm not sure what time. I think Ron will probably set something up for probably maybe around 8 o'clock, because the invitation from DJI says 12 p.m. GMT Greenwich Mean Time. When translating that to Eastern Standard Time is 7 a.m. I don't think we'll be on at 7 a.m. I think more than likely we'll be on at 8. We'll get Ron's confirmation from him tonight when we have him on, just to let you guys know. But we'll have that. And then coming up now, don't forget, there are still 2 more items, or really technically 3 more items that have been approved by DJI or approved by the FCC that are DJI items. The Pocket 4 in both iterations have been approved for that. And then the it's going to be the Lito, okay? And there's a Lito and a Lito X1, I believe. Those will be coming up, but there's no real ETA on those. I'm thinking, from what I'm hearing on the Pocket 4, I haven't seen a lot of information. Jasper really hasn't posted anything, and neither has Igor. We're probably looking towards mid to later April for probably the first iteration of that. And I think they're going to have a pro version, so stay tuned for that. And the Lito, it's been kind of quiet on that. So hopefully we'll hear some more here. So, okay. Let's see here. Now, DJI is making the news because they're going to court, and they're not going to court here in the United States. They're going to court over in China, and they're going to court because, let's see, I'm trying to get the article up. DJI sues Insta360 days before Avata 360 drone launch. Okay, DJI has filed a patent ownership lawsuit in China against Insta360's parent company, Arashi Vision, claiming that 6 key patents registered by the firm should legally belong to DJI, and that's the whole crux of the argument right here. And the article talks about that. Now, what's real interesting was, of course, there's Ron. Hey, Ron, how are you, sir?
Hello, Bill. How are you tonight?
Doing good. Doing very good. Really enjoyed Drone Nation last night. It was a good show.
Oh, thank you. Kind of the countdown to Thursday. I mean, didn't have a whole lot new, but outside saying we'll know more in less than 48 hours. We'll know a whole lot.
Yeah, we sure will. I'm touching on the first of 2 articles about, DJI filing lawsuit against Insta360. Well, lo and behold, Insta360 is not taking this lying down because they fired back today. I don't know if you saw this or not.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. Okay. Now, I have no idea how the legal system works over in China here. Okay. DJI versus Insta360 drone patent war just got a lot more intense. And what they are saying is that those 6 patents in question belong to Insta360, not to DJI. So they're going to go round and round in full. DJI wanted it. They could have just asked. All right. So who knows? It's he said, she said. Established players hate losing market share. Why hasn't Insta360 sued DJI yet? Who knows? I mean, and it's really kind of a case of he said, she said, Ron. with this. And like I said, I have no idea how the legal system works over in China. I don't think they have juries. I think it's all judges who render their opinion. And of course, who controls China over there. It's the CCP. So, it all depends on what's going on with that. But I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to turn out. So,
and if DJI is upset now, wait until Insta360 releases that pocket Ford clone or whatever, the pocket lookalike or whatever. They're really going to be upset.
Yeah. I mean, and it's unbelievable timing, because that article came out yesterday morning, and here we are, release week for the Avata 360, and lo and behold, this comes out, and I'm like, okay, well, what's to say? I mean, it's just, it's curious that they came out with this now, because, usually during a week like this for DJI, they really don't want anything to detract away from their main target this week, which is the Avata 360, and getting that out the door on Thursday. And it's just kind of puzzling why they did this now at this point in time, except maybe to put a kink in Insta360 sales. That's the only thing that I could kind of think of, that people will probably pull back a little bit on that. I don't know.
Again, I don't know how anything works in China, but in the U.S., the legal departments for most companies don't have no relationship at all with the rest of the company. So what the legal department does in a U.S. company doesn't affect anybody else's performance in the company. They're not usually even consulted on this stuff. So
yeah.
I don't think it'll mean a lot to us either way. What legalities happen in China, as end users, I don't know if it'll make any difference to us at all who wins or whatever.
Right.
Happens.
I have no idea about that either. Just to answer Oren's question right here, I believe, from what I understand in doing some research, that Allstate, really the product that they do is, I really think it's Assurant. So it is backed up. And if you file a claim, more often than not, what happens is, I don't think your drone necessarily gets repaired. They reimburse you for the drone, okay, for whatever you paid for it. So you can go ahead out and buy another one. That's my understanding on that. You may want to do some research, but I believe it's Assurant that owns it. It's marketed as Allstate, but I believe it's Assurant. Just to kind of answer your question there. So as far as that's concerned,
good. Yeah, and I made that point, I think, last weekend and last night or whatever, that if you really want a drone that's repairable, that a drone you can send back and get it fixed, you may want to look at the Antigravity A1. As far as I know, they have full U.S. support. True. If you have an issue with the drone, you can call them up and they'll take care of you if it's under their 1 year warranty. I think they sell extended warranty. So again, I hate to say this because I know everybody, so I am too, but we've been preaching for years, Bill, about support, warranty, repairs, or whatever. As a U.S. Buyer, we don't have that from DJI, but we would have it as Antigravity A1 customers. So
that's true, and I think Sky Rover as well it does support their products as well here in the United States, because I did email them when I had the Sky Rover, and they did tell me that all the repairs and everything would be done and handled here in the United States. It would not go out of the United States. So now
that they're being sold in Best Buy, you would even have the option to maybe, you would have the option to return to Best Buy within the return period, but also you could probably buy a Best Buy extended warranty, right, Bill?
Well, not only get a Best Buy extended warranty, what you do is purchase their and I'm a member of that, and you automatically get, I believe it's another month's time to return the product. They waive some things as far as that's concerned. And for example, I get free labor on a lot of stuff, like at the Geek Squad. Like if I go in to have a computer upgrade done or anything, there's no labor. All I got to do is pay for the part, which is wonderful with stuff like that. So, and that's more than paid for itself. I think it's like $240 a year, but we've had them come out several times for our washer and dryer because we bought it from Best Buy. That I'm just really, really impressed with them. as far as that's concerned. Now, I know you guys talked a little bit about this, because I know where the meetup is I believe from what Ray was saying or somebody else last night, it's fairly close to the TFR for Mar-a-Lago.
Well, I think, we need to correct that. I don't think it was 1 mile for the TFR from Mar-a-Lago. I think it's 1 mile for the TFR of the airport that's around there.
Okay.
Because, it, like, if you are 1 mile away from it, you can get a length approval to fly at locations in and around there, even on weekends. So I think that was the airport bubble and not the Trump bubble. Because I'll give you an example of Jupiter last weekend. Just for the heck of it, I submitted for a Lance waiver for 50 feet, right? And I was turned down. So
wow,
there's nothing you could do here in the presidential TFR, but in the airport's TFR in that area, the Jensen Beach, Stewart area, you like if you to the House of Refuge or whatever, you could just drive right up and usually get the like approval right on the premises,
Right. Now, this article here, drone pilots face 100K fines under new DoD crackdown. And, it's continuing that discussion from what we had last week about, these areas that we're talking about here. The stark warning now coming from a coordinated push by multiple federal agencies, including the Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, Federal FAA, and Department of Defense. The crackdown is part of a broader effort by the White House task force to restore American airspace sovereignty, and officials are making one thing clear: there's zero tolerance for illegal drone flights. Drone use continues to grow. We are stepping up enforcement, and so try to move that down here. Can trigger authorities say violators won't just get a slap on the wrist. Flying a drone in restricted airspace, such as airports, military bases, or large public events, can trigger civil penalties well above $100,000, along with federal criminal charges, possible imprisonment, and confiscation of your drone. The warning also highlights the Safer Skies Act, a law that now that expands enforcement powers. It allows state, local, tribal, and memorial and territorial agencies to detect, disable, or even seize drones that pose a credible threat to public safety. Okay, if you fly an illegal drone, you will be caught, says U.S. Army Brigadier General Matt Ross, Director of Joint Interagency Task Force. Okay, that's not just a warning, it's a signal of enforcement that's entered a new phase where authorities can track both the drone and the person controlling it in real time here. Okay, DHS is urging Americans to report suspicious drone activity, especially near sensitive locations or major events. Okay, and now there's another article in conjunction with this that I do want to talk about, and it kind of lends perspective to what all this is about, and I think Ron knows what I'm going to be talking about here. Let me go ahead and bring that up. Okay, I thought I had that article. I don't. It was talking about the what Ron and I were just talking about as far as the TFR zones. In this instance here, okay, what's happening? A lot of times you can be flying illegally and not know it. All right, there's no warning. There's nothing given. You're in an area, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you have 10 police cars coming up in the Department of Homeland Security and saying you're under arrest, and you had no idea why. All right, so just the word to the wise is to be very careful about this. Now, I know last week we talked about a gentleman a photographer who's filing suit against the FAA because of this, because it's very ambiguous and people don't know whether or not they're in that airspace. There's no warning, nothing is given to them. So just kind of, if you're flying near a TFR, when in doubt, just check things out, do a deep dive into stuff, and if you're going out flying, just be super careful where you're at. And
I mean, the examples, Bill, you could just be flying in your backyard, right, in a totally unrestricted area, and there could be a Department of Defense vehicle that would pull down at the end of the block to do something, and then that would be a temporary total flight restriction area, whatever, and you would have no idea because it's not going to pop up on the apps or whatever unless you actually would be outside. You'd see the DoD people get out of the car. You would not know. So, Bill, it's essentially if they took all the speed limit signs down the highway and you were riding down there and you got caught for speeding, you wouldn't even know if you were speeding or not because there was no signs. That's
Exactly.
kind of the same analogy here. So, I mean, it's I don't think. But here's what I don't think they're going to do. If you are, by example, if you're the guy flying a drone in your backyard and they got some kind of operation a block away, you're not interfering with all. Nothing's going to happen to you. But say you're a lookout for some kind of a drug cartel, whatever, and you're using that drone, then they're going to use that law on you.
Exactly. Well, I read today, and I'm not sure if it was in Florida or not, but I read someone who he's been arrested 49 times before. He was sentenced to 83 years in prison for dropping contraband inside jails, using a drone, doing that. And what they mean by that is dropping cell phones, knives, razors,
drugs,
SIM cards, drugs. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle. And they really threw the book at him because he's, like I said, he's been arrested 49 times before. So, trying to make an example. But that's a real problem as well, too, because, it's nearly impossible for them to detect drones coming into a prison and landing and dropping this stuff off, especially if they're doing it under the cover of night. And, as from watching some of those famous movies, they can't cover that whole area with searchlights. Okay. There are going to be some dark areas that you won't be able to see, and skillful pilots will be able to get in and out. But the thing with that is more often than not, they're going to be within that area. But now, we have remote ID, and that's going to make a big difference as far as that's concerned. And the federal government has some new tools that will help them with that. So stay tuned for all that. Now, we're going to get going on the Avata 360. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is this question was raised a couple of times last night on Drone Nation, and I myself did some checking on this, and I looked at a number of videos, and probably the best video on this was from our friend Jevin Dovey. Okay, now I wanted to find out how easy it is to process the video from, for example, right now, they have the Osmo 360s out there. All right. I wanted to see how easy that was and what the process is. And from what everybody said, they don't use the Mimo app. They use DJI Studio. All right. So I said, let me take a look. Let's take a look and see. And I watched a couple of tutorials that were kind of meh, but Jevin really kind of nailed it. And I wanted to take a couple of minutes to go over that with you guys. And the video is in the description. And I want you guys to pay attention to this. I mean, I can't play Jevin's video because I'll get YouTube will slap my hand for this. But if you take a look right here, okay, this is Studio right here. What's it look like to you? Okay, it looks like either Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Adobe, kind of a thing. And there's a timeline right here, and this is how you do your keyframes are on the timeline. And he demonstrated very easily how to do it. This is not hard. It's not, I think early on it may have been a difficult process to do this, but think of this as a standalone editor by itself. Think of this as a DaVinci Resolve or a Final Cut Pro, and you're dropping that video. Now, what Jevin demonstrated, obviously, it was with the Osmo 360. He just hooked his cable up directly to the Osmo 360 and downloaded it. Now, obviously, if it's on an SD card or whatever, but he said he loaded it directly into the software. Now, obviously, you can download it to a folder too, he said, if you wanted to do that. But I watched the video. It's not that hard. It is a little time consuming because, when you're setting, basically what you're doing with this is he's walking right here. He's going to stop it, and then he's going to switch the view, and that's what keyframes are. He's going to switch the view to the view from behind, okay? And then if you wanted to, you could switch it to a view from above or wherever or the side if you wanted to do that. That's the whole thing with this, and that's the reason, as Ron knows, this takes time. That's the reason whenever you process these videos, it takes time to process these videos. So don't be afraid of getting the Avata 360 because you don't know how to process 360. This is easy. The DJI Studio is super easy. It's very intuitive. If you know how to work Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve or anything along those lines, you got DJI Studio down. You just have to be patient and take your time and realize, you have, and it's what the options that you have are wonderful with this, Ron. It opens up a whole new door for you when you're flying your drone. I mean, you can get a shot of your drone from above, and then you can also maybe get a shot from the side, and then maybe you can get a shot from 3/4 behind. I mean, it's the combinations and permutations are endless with something like this, the views that you can do.
Yeah, I've never used DJI's any of their 360 software because I don't have a DJI 360 camera any type. But the Insta360 software, which is supposedly more advanced, again, I can't tell you because I've only used it. A lot of the whiz bang features that they promote are only available in the phone and not the desktop editor. So that's one con. Another con, Bill, I always found, and maybe DJI's fixed this. I mean, yeah, I don't know, but if I shoot a 5-minute 360 video, and I don't like, it's a lot of it I don't want. Like, say, I don't want the beginning, I don't want the end. I want a couple segments in the middle to get the cut parts you don't want away. Always were difficult or whatever. Like it was almost like if you didn't want the whole video, whatever, it was tough to get around the parts you did not want with that or whatever. And the keyframing, like they always change it. Like they get updates and the keyframing works differently. And I always had trouble like splitting hairs where I wanted to change, and I just did not do it every day. So I never got any muscle memory with it.
Right.
And it was all when I wanted to edit a simple 2 or 3 minute video, hours would go by and I still wouldn't get exactly the result I wanted. So I don't see a lot of 360 video anymore just because again, maybe DJI has solved it. Maybe this software eliminates everything I just said. I can only refer to Insta360 software, who supposedly, by all the experts, is the better software.
Right, and that's what I've heard as well too. Well, watching this has prompted me to the point of I am seriously considering and more than likely going to get an Osmo 360, because the other part of this too that I wanted to share, and by the way, I just dropped a link for that video in the chat. So you guys, I seriously, you guys need to watch this. If you're going to get the Avata 360, you do need to watch that. Now, the other thing that people were talking about, and I wanted to spend a minute on this as well too. I'm going to wait for this commercial to yeah, it always hits. Okay. People were concerned about the lens. Okay. Because, DJI had no option to replace the lens. So what they did was they came out with a protection system that was absolutely fantastic. And I'm waiting for this to pop up here. I don't know. Here we go. Okay. And this was a great explanation on that. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this in the chat too. Now this is in Bill Jones, your Facebook group. Okay. DJI Osmo 360 lens protectors tested, and they are plentiful and out on eBay. They're around $22 to $25. Almost all of them are in China. So if you wanted to get one, go ahead and order it the same time you order an Osmo 360. Now, Evelyn Chan has it for $25 less than Amazon's price. I checked with her. She could sell it for about $425 on Amazon right now. The Adventure combo, which is the right combo to get because it has the 3 batteries, a battery case with it, another case with it as well. It runs $450. So she can do that for $425. So if you guys are interested in that, but Ron, this changes the game for me as far as 360 is concerned. Because I thought, oh, woe is me. He even did a test to show that the bubble that's protecting the lens does not distort the video at all. Okay. DJI really took some painstaking efforts to make sure of that with this. So, this is another reason why I'm going to strongly consider and more than likely get the 360, because I think
and 360 video just looks distorted by nature. So all those complaints, because Insta360's had these covers for years. Everybody complains about the distortion. Bill, you may want to consider. Well, I'll give you 2 things. You may want to consider just waiting a few months and getting the Osmo 360 V2, which will have replaceable lenses, or go on Amazon and get the extra. That's a kind of a knockoff company that makes versions of the Action 6, the Osmo 360, I think even the Nano, and I believe they will support the cameras. If you did need to replace the lenses, you could get it replaced with the extra rather than that you could not do in the DJI.
Right, and I'm considering that as well too. Only reason
Because I believe the extras, the prices is like the stock market. They change all the time, but more often than not, they're actually less money than the DJI version of the Osmo.
Well, that is a great tip, Ron. And for anybody like me who's considering that, that's something to consider as well.
Yeah,
too.
but the key is they have support. If you
Right.
get extra, you have some level of support and
You have
repair.
some level of support here. So, as we know what's coming up here, and I wanted to go ahead and let me do this first. I'm going to back out of this, and I want to go here. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Okay. Above it all, see it all. 26 March 2026, 12 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Now, I did a look at that, and it translates to 7 a.m. on Thursday. So I believe we're not going to be getting on at 7 o'clock in the morning. What time did you have that scheduled for, Ron?
Well, I mean, I don't, I can't recall if we've ever had a 7 a.m. one before. I mean, we've done, we used to be 9 a.m., then they moved to 8 a.m. So this may be the first time they ever moved to 7 a.m. What do you think? 8, 7:30, 8?
I would say 7:30 would probably be a good time. So just pay attention. Ron will post information out on Drone Nation, and I'll get it out on Bill the Drone Reviewer Facebook group as well too for what time it is on Thursdays. So now remember, just to let everybody know, and I want to make sure that everybody's really clear on this. This is the release for China. Okay, this is not the UK, rest of Asia, Europe, anywhere else. This is just for China. Period. Okay, it's not. This is where it's being released on this day. All right, and they're also saying, from what I understand, now I've heard some conflicting stories, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, but some people have said that because it's going on in China, they'll be able to get these out to people in South Korea and Japan, the resellers that we've been buying these from. So they may have that in stock on day one. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not.
But plus, there's plenty of resellers in China too,
exactly,
including Evelyn or whatever. So, and somehow the China resellers seem to be able to get these things over here with no tariffs.
Yeah, there's no tariffs. I mean, I can't tell you how many things I bought directly from China, including what Evelyn sold me, and not 1 penny in tariffs on any of that. Nothing. Okay.
Hey, look at Drone Oki's comment. 2 comments back. He said the extra 360 is $309 on Amazon with the coupon. So yeah, that's a great deal, Bill.
Yeah, that is a great deal.
Again, that's essentially the same thing as Osmo 360, probably like 99%, and it actually has some kind of support and warranty.
That's fantastic. Thank you,
Drew. I believe one of the down points of the extra cameras where they did not use to support DJI's wireless mics, because I believe they all have been updated to support the wireless mics now.
Okay, that's great. That's great news as well too, because and that's one of the things. Now for an initial review, if you want to watch an initial review, and I love his videos. Sean from Air Photography. Okay, just did a spot on video of the Osmo 360 when it came out, and he did a follow up one as well too. And he's still impressed with it. He's still impressed with how well it works, and the features for the dollar, the value for the dollar. He's still really overall impressed with that as well too. So just bear that in mind when you're thinking about that. And as Ron and now Droney Oki pointed out, this extra 360 as well is an option. So keep your cards open with that. But the whole thing that I wanted to get across with this discussion is, the software that's out there, I thought it was like, it was going to be like rocket science and having to be like either Robert Oppenheimer or Albert Einstein and sit there with all these, calculus equations on the board and trying to figure this stuff out. No, it's not like that. It's not that complicated. It just takes some time. You know what you want. You go in there, you plan your shot. I mean, you could shoot the same, probably reuse the same footage, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 times and make a new video each time.
Yeah,
if you wanted to
you
do
could.
that.
You could.
Which is the wonderful thing about this. I mean, this is just, it's going to open up doors, I think, for a lot of people. It's going to be great. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I think you guys will look forward to it as well. So that's coming up. I wanted to make sure we get all.
I got another. Joe Oki has a question. Does the Extra 360 work with the DJI Studio? I only know from watching people's videos. I think Extra has their own software, and it looks like, again, 99% like DJI software.
Okay, that's a good point. And
again, just watching people's videos. I don't have any experience with it hands on.
Yeah, so that's some good news. That's good to know, Ron. A lot of people were not aware of that. I wasn't aware of that, so that's a good thing, and that's a good thing to check out as well too, because those are better prices. There's at least $150 better than DJI right now. So definitely that's something that you want to check out.
Bill, before we get on to the next subject, do you think the Avata 360, because it's more than 6 months down the road, do you think we'll see some advancements in DJI's 360 technology as far as even video quality from the camera over the Osmo 360, which again that's a product that's over 6 months old now, probably 8 months old?
Yeah, I do. I think we will see some improvements as far as that's concerned. I think what you'll end up finding out will be, once it's been released, I think DJI is going to come out with a firmware update for the Osmo 360, and that firmware update's also going to apply probably to the Avata 360 as well too. So stay tuned for that. They're constantly striving to improve that product and via firmware updates. And I think this is something that they will do, and they'll probably do it well. One of the things that I wanted to spend a few minutes on this evening, I know we went over all the details last week, but I posted the articles out there again anyway for your benefit, but I wanted to take some time to go over this one, especially because of the pricing. And I want to make sure that everybody's clear on some things here. Okay. All right. And let's see here. China, we're going to go to the United States estimated because I won't do that here. Okay. Yeah. The drone only is $489 to $528. The Fly More combo is $999. The premium combo is $1,100 to $1,333, and the battery is $80 to $91. Okay. All right. With this drone only, and I know you guys talked about it last night, and I wanted to bring this up. All right. These resellers out on eBay, it's going to be, I would say the first week, maybe two, it's going to be very hit or miss trying to find one of them, because they're not going to where they're going to make their money is on the Fly More combo or the premium combo. Okay. They're not going to make most of their money on the drone only. Cause I know Ron said, if he's going to pull the trigger, it'll be the drone only. And I think Marcus said the same thing as well. And a lot of people are going to be in an instance because they'll already have the controller, so they don't need to go ahead and get one with a controller. Now, the thing that they'll end up needing to do will be to buy batteries. So, pay attention to when you go out there on Thursday and you're looking out on eBay. Number one, you're probably not going to find the drone only out there right away.
Well, Bill, I'm going to give you an update. They're already available on eBay, and almost every seller says shipping begins on April 20th. So I don't know if they know anything or they just pulled that 20th date out of their hat or whatever. But here's the interesting: almost nobody has the basic combo, but most of them have a combo that's not even on this list. Most of them have a combo include the drone, a battery, and I think the DJI RC controller, and that usually goes for like around $800, and that's not even one of the packages on this list.
That's a good point, Ron. So, just because what we're posting right here, this is what we know as of right now. We'll know more Thursday, so we'll.
And maybe that your list is more accurate. There's eBay people. Maybe they're just what we call like they're just have a placemat down or whatever. Maybe they're just
Right.
throwing that up there. They may not know anything. They just
Right.
want to. They just want you to pre-order or whatever, or
They're just kind of, as they say, spitballing or throwing something up against
we
the
don't. Maybe
wall
they
there.
know. Maybe they don't. I mean, I don't know either way. But right now, you can't. Well, at least the 24 hours ago, you couldn't find a single combo available from any eBay. So they don't even have it yet. They're again, all they're doing is they're just speculating when how much they're going to get the drone for and when they're going to get it. They're just trying to get the jump on their competitors.
Exactly. Now, what when they say it's not going to be available till the 20th. Now, I've heard some rumors going around that I think the big thing with DJI on the Avata 360 right now is having enough in stock. I think this is going to be one of the things. So, I hate to say this because if you're looking to get this and you really want to get this, and that money is just burning, that credit card is burning a hole in your pocket. Okay, so shop carefully when you go out on eBay on Thursday. I mean, look at these sellers here. Look at their feedback. Not only with recent purchases is what I would suggest, because obviously they haven't sold this as well, any of these as well. But look with recent purchases and see how people have done. I almost always won't get anything unless that person has over 100 feedbacks. All right, because under 100, a lot of them can be like $2 propellers or $5 prop guards or this or that kind of a thing. You want to go with somebody that has bought some has some high ticket items for sale. And that's what you want to look at when you go out to eBay. All right. Some of these things where they're selling, prop guards or, just the gimbal covers that are $10, they're going to be a dime a dozen,
Or they sold some other item. They sold kids' toys or something, whatever. They haven't even
Yeah.
sold drones before. So yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, make sure that, in the product line that you're looking at, a drone or DJI products, that they've sold these before and that they have feedback on them. That's something that I would caution you to do. My thinking is this. I think Ron, I think what we're going to see right here, we're going to see such an influx because DJI has really built this up, and with their marketing that they have done for this, we're going to see what happened when the original Mavic Pro came out. I think they are going to get swamped, I think, with orders. And I'm going to kind of change my tune here a little bit, is if you really want to get one, all right, and it's not too out of line with these prices that you're seeing, do it on day one. Do it on Thursday, okay? Now, the official release to the rest of the world is April the 6th, all right? That's when it comes out and what I mean rest of the world, obviously not the United States, but Canada, the rest of Asia, Europe, Australia, Germany, that kind of thing. They get theirs on the 6th, just to let you guys know. So really and truly, in essence, if you want to get a jump on things, you're welcome to do that. But kind of try to keep in mind these prices that you're seeing over here, that they're gonna line up with this, because if you want to wait a week and save $100, you may be able to do that. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing with that.
Of course, usually the most expensive package, it doesn't sell out right away. So that's usually available. But Bill, I mean, I'm making a prediction here based on nothing, but I think if you're right, and this is heavily ordered in the U.S., I think it's going to be a lot of buyers remorse when they get it and they figure out they don't want to mess with 360 video. So if you really want to hang in there a couple months or whatever, I think you'll find them being sold on Facebook Marketplace and Amazon, things like that, 3 or 4 months down the road when somebody figures out that they don't want a full 360 video.
That's true. That's very true. And because I think that's what really has frustrated a lot of people before, as far as getting into the hobby, is being able to process the video. I know at first, when I got my Autel X-Star Premium, putting the video into YouTube, I could load it natively, but to put a video together, I had no idea what I was doing. I had never used a video editor before in my life, back in 2017, and I got an early version of some form of Adobe, and some trial and error, and I finally figured out what it was doing and what to do. And then finally, I graduated a few years ago to DaVinci Resolve, which I think is a fantastic editor. And the best part about that, it's free. It takes time to learn that. And if you really want to get just some spectacular views and can be patient enough to work on this and to process these, the Avata 360 is going to be something for you. And it's going to be fun. Now, remember also, too, and this is something that I think is really important. A lot of people might get lost in this, in everything, Ron, is that you can fly this drone normally, and you can video on this drone normally, and not in
like a single lens mode. That's correct. But of course, be wary though that the single lens mode, even though it says it's 4K and whatever, it's not going to look as good as the single lens mode on probably any other drone you have. Probably even the budget DJI Mini drones, their video is going to look better in the single lens mode than this drone.
Ron's right with that. So, you'll probably get better video from like a Neo 2 than you would from the Avata 360.
Because the single lens mode is even going to have a 180 camera. There's two 180 cameras, like top and bottom. So even that 180, I'm sure they're going to have a de-warp and whatever, but no matter what they do, you still get a semi-fisheye look, and the edges don't have the clarity that the middle has.
Exactly. So be prepared for that.
Don't buy this drone if your main goal is to shoot pristine, cinematic looking footage of beautiful locations. This is probably not the one you should get.
Exactly. And Ron pointed it out so well. If you're looking to do something like that, lay down some good money and get a Mavic 4 Pro. That will get you that every single time. The DJI Air 3S, that will get you that every single time.
Mini 5 Pro.
The Mini 5 Pro will do the same. So, there are 3 drones right there that will get you that quality video that you're looking for. If you're looking to, for example, if, for example, you're doing real estate, which I know Ron does, you want to do something like that, you want to use one of those type of drones to do that. Okay. Something like
you want to do that with a 360 drone.
Right. You don't want to do this with a 360 drone. This isn't a niche. This is something it's going to be fun with something like this. For example, one of the fun videos that I saw that Sean had done while he was testing it was he mounted it on a little RC 4x4. Okay. And showed some of the video from that. That was fun. That was really fun being able to watch something like that. So, it opens up a world of possibilities with this. And I think you'll be able to see things from different perspectives and different views, and it's really going to open up a lot of people's eyes. That's the way I see things right now.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just if you don't think you're going to like reframing video, don't buy this drone. It's no use getting it if you're not totally committed to reframing your video. I mean, it's no use flying in single lens mode. I mean, unless you don't have any other drone. The other drone, it's better than single lens mode. Again, if you're not committed to reframing video, you might as well save your money.
Exactly. Now, I also wanted to go over, and I know we talked about this last week too, but I think this is a really good example, and I wanted to spend a minute on this before we kind of wrap things up here. Is there are 8 different type of shots that you can get with the Avata 360. The 8 shot types DJI revealed. The forward shot, a standard forward-facing perspective, similar to any camera drone. The difference is extracted from a full spherical capture after the fact. Okay, top-down view, a straight-down in the air shot, no tilting the gimbal during flight. You just reframe to look straight down in post. Okay, rear view, looking back at where the drone came from, normally impossible without a physically rotating camera. Here, it's a simple reframe. Okay. Tracking shot. The drone follows a subject, and the 360 capture keeps them locked in frame regardless of drone orientation. Side spin. The drone rotates while the camera locks on a subject or point of interest, producing a dramatic orbit-style effect. Front back flip. A full vertical rotation. 360 capture means the subject stays visible even as the drone flips completely over. Juicy flick. A quick directional snap that creates a disoriented perspective shift. The name is clearly aimed at social media creators. Asteroid. And of course, I think everybody knows what the asteroid is. Okay. And you've done that before with some of the quick shots. So, wanting to make people aware of that. These are the kind of perspectives that you'll be able to get when you're doing something like that. So is the Avata 360 for everybody's cup of tea? No. Okay. It's not.
And the thing you described there, Bill, if you're big on TikTok, you like to putting out those short videos with a whole bunch of effects, this may be for you.
Ab-
How serves somebody like Marcus Crawford who makes 30, 40-minute videos? I don't know, because who wants to see 30 minutes of all those tricks you just said?
Yeah, yeah, and it's going to take a lot of work. Marcus will probably be there. It will probably take a full day if you want to do a video like that. But
Marcus may get one video out a month when he gets the Avata 360.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So this was a good comment right here.
Yeah. Well, guess what, Marcus? Probably if you just fly somebody's Avata 2, you won't know any difference. You put blinders on, you wouldn't know if probably you're flying a Avata 2 or a Avata 360. In other words, Marcus, you already know what it's like to fly the 360. You've flown the Avata 2.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of
And also be aware, if you've never owned a FPV type drone before, this isn't going to be like your little mini camera drone. This thing's going to, you're going to deal with some noise. So another con, if you want to be
yeah.
inconspicuous and not draw attention, you're going to be flying a noisy little FPV drone around.
And see, that's a great point to bring up as well, Ron, because I think that's the thing. When I got the Neo 2 and fired it up the first time, I said, "Yep, I know I have a Neo 2 here." Okay, and it's letting the world know, "Hey, I'm here and I'm on right now, and I'm going to go flying around because it produces a lot of noise." And it's going to be the same here with the Avata 360. It's going to be a noisy drone. It's not going to be quiet. It's not going to be silent. So you won't go sneaking up on anybody with this. So just to kind of be forewarned and to let you know. You know. As we kind of wrap things up here, I want to make sure that you guys tune in. It looks like Thursday morning at 7:30 on Drone Nation. Ron will set it up. I know I'll be there. Maybe Marcus, because I know it's super early for
It's
him.
very early for the rest of the country. Yeah,
and maybe Johnny will join us. Who knows?
Johnny's a prior commitment, so he's going to miss this one.
Oh, Johnny's going to miss this one. So, but Ron and I will be there for sure. It's always a lot of fun. It's always good. It's always the bigger thing that I get is to see what the actual specs are versus what the leak specs are, to see how they line up, see how the pricing lines up from what we've seen from Jasper Ellens and Igor and everybody, how everything meshes right here. And when the availability is, it's kind of a I don't know. We find things out that day.
Well, Bill, this is just a new style release for DJI because they've never acknowledged a product before it was released before like this, where they've let the influencers put videos out, teasers out already. They've never kind of pre-announced a product before. So this is a whole new, a brave new world for us as far as DJI, kind of letting people see the drone before it's released.
Absolutely. It really kind of is something that they have done. And I've said this before, and I know I've had Ron on when I've said that DJI is a really kind of, I don't want to say Jedi masters at marketing, but they really kind of are. And that's because everything they have done has been different. Okay. Up until when the Mavic 2 came out, which I had the privilege of being able to go to New York City for the release. Up until that point in time, they did these in-person releases. It was a big shindig. And let me tell you, DJI spent a serious amount of coin there, okay? Because they rented what's called I think it's called the Douglas Gardens or greenhouse down there, down in the Brooklyn Naval Yard, where, obviously that's where what it was in World War II, and you still need a security clearance to get in there. It was a high prestige event. I mean, it really felt that way. And, all the bigwigs from DJI were there. It was a very different kind of experience. And then they shut all that down, and they shut it down. COVID ended up coming up and kind of put the kibosh on that. But then they realized something. They could do these ones over the web, have the content creators release their workflows out there at a prescribed time, that's in their NDA, and save all that money that they're doing. And that's what they've done ever since then. Okay.
Yep,
And
it's worked perfectly. Yep.
It's worked really well for them. And then they try something completely new this time around. Okay. They let all the content creators come out, try it. But The one thing that I found out, Ron, after I watched several of the videos that were out there, they're not allowed to release what the specs are, because that's
Yes.
part of the
Yes.
agreement that they signed. They can't really
Yeah.
say what the specifications of the
Right.
Avata 360 are until
Right.
obviously release day. And all of them will have official review videos that will come out on release day, which I assume will be I assume it'll be out Thursday morning. That's just my thoughts on that.
So at like 7:05 Thursday morning, it should be a flood of reviews on YouTube, huh?
Yes, so we should see by the time we get on at 7:30, there's going to be plentiful reviews out there. And again, that's something Ron and I will bring up. We'll talk about, who has reviews out there for you to go to. I can tell you right away. I know the ones that will more than likely will have them. Like Potato Jet will almost always have one. Jevin Dovey will probably have one out there. We'll probably see Aldrin will have one out there. Maybe Russ from 51 Drones, Billy, Ken, maybe Rick Smith,
Kelly Shores has it this time around.
Kelly Shores. It will be interesting because as you watch some of these these videos and you go to different reviewers, they're all good in and of themselves. But the ones that I like to look at, and the ones that I like to focus on, and and I hate to call him out for it, but Sean from Air Photography, he's concise, he's to the point, he doesn't add any extra filler to it. He gets directly to the questions that we ask, okay, in the drone community about these drones or cameras products, and he answers them, and he does it in a great job. And there's not a lot of fluff right there. He's going to the meat of things. So
And unlike some of the real big influencers who'll put one video out on it, possibly two, and then never show it again to the channel, still make a series of videos on it.
Yeah,
and not just that one big splash video and then you don't see it again.
Exactly.
I love Potato Jet, but he'll make that one video and you'll be lucky to ever see it again on his channel.
Yeah, it'll be you won't see him do that again. So that's a great point, Ron. These guys like Sean, for example, and Billy and Ken and other ones, they follow up on things like that. They'll put out more than one video on this, because obviously there's going to be, as questions come up, they'll probably want to do a video on a lot of these questions. So stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. It's a lot of fun. There's been probably some of the most, if not the most hype I think we've ever seen for a drone before from DJI. So it's going to be really interesting to see how all this pans out, Ron.
It will be. It's going to be the most interesting release ever, because again, I think I think people really want this drone, but I don't know if people are going to be totally happy when they get it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, as Ron said, bear in mind, okay, this is not a regular camera drone. Okay, if you're looking to get a regular camera drone for cinematic purposes, to get outstanding video and pictures from, you need to look at a Mini 5 Pro. You need to look at an Air 3S. You need to look at a Mavic 4 Pro. Those are the kind of drones. This is what you'll get from those kind of drones. All right, for this is I don't want to say a pure fun drone, but it's more towards being a fun drone. It's more towards being a sports and action type of drone as well too, and catching some of these things out there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think,
and Bill, has anybody confirmed that the drone has full FPV capabilities yet?
No, I haven't seen anything on that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something I think.
I know they've confirmed you can fly it with the FPV controller as well as the motion controller, but I don't think anybody's confirmed that they've put the drone in full acro yet. I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to be full acro, but I'm just saying I don't think we've seen that yet.
No, we haven't seen that yet. So that's something to probably watch out for on launch day, is if somebody gets it and puts it in full acro mode, to see what it's like out there. And also too, to see, if somebody's going to hook it up to goggles and see how it works with goggles. So that's going to be real interesting to see, because we haven't seen any of that so far. So stay tuned for all of that. Ron, any words of wisdom before we wrap things up here?
Now we're just counting down. Now we've been talking about this drone, actually, I guess since last summer when we saw it in the video. Remember when they do those leak photos when you see like a Mavic 4 Pro or a Mini 5 on a table and you see the strange looking drone near it. So we've been looking at this drone since last summer on the leak photos. So this has been one of those things, Bill. We've been on this thing for almost close to a year now. So it's good to finally bring it to had a resolution on Thursday morning and get this thing out and learn the few things we don't know about it already. And I guess the key question, we don't have a lot of people asking stuff about specs and stuff, pricing more. The big question is now is when can I actually order and get my hands on it? That's the big question we don't know.
Right, and we'll probably find out more on Thursday regarding that as well too. Because if what some of the leaks that I've been hearing are correct, that the sources in China will be getting them to the 2 points in China and possibly maybe South Korea and Japan as well too, then you may be able to get it earlier than April the 20th. But again, that remains to be seen. I know from last I checked, I messaged Evelyn and she was unsure about whether or not she would be getting them. She has to wait for pricing to drop and inventory and so forth. So, stay tuned for that. If you wanted to order it from her, just be aware of the fact with Evelyn, she has free shipping and it's via China Post, but it will take about a full 10 days to get here. Just to let you guys know, it's not going to be fast. So, but her prices will more than likely be a little bit better than other ones out there. So.
And you know what? The timing is going to be good, Bill, because it's going to arrive to customers, even if it takes weeks, a month, or whatever. It's going to arrive to most customers when their weather has turned into good drone flying weather, Bill. I mean,
yeah.
I know you're in Florida. I'm in Florida now, but even the rest of the country, give the rest of the country 3 or 4 more weeks, and most places are going to be, their weather's going to be pretty much settled in that they're going to have good flying weather for a long time.
And that's why the timing of the drone meetup couldn't be better because, we've been through the worst of whatever our version of winter is. And, it really truly is spring right now because temperatures in the 80s, humidity is very comfortable right now.
Very good.
So it's kind of an ideal time in Florida. Ron and Susan came down. You guys came down at a muy bueno time.
And the winds have been real good this week. We had a mini meetup this morning, Bill. Captain Ray and I and a couple other guys, we flew at Dubois Park this morning at sunrise. Beautiful sunrise. We had great conditions. I mean, the weather was in the 60s, so, but that's feel good in the morning. Clear skies, light wind, and whatever. We had a great time, Bill.
Yeah, that's all awesome to be able to do that. And I was sharing with Valerie. I said, you know what, when I get retired, those are things I'm going to be able to start doing, is be able to do things like that and have some fun with that. So I just wish Jupiter wasn't 2.5 hours away from me.
Yeah, long haul. Yeah,
well, it wouldn't be that long haul that I could.
You need to find a couple drone flyers over on the West Florida, whatever. That have many meetups.
Yeah, I would love to. Well, I know of one, but he's never around, so that's Ken.
Okay.
Ken's always on the move. So.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Good night.
Be sure to tune in on Thursday at 7:30 on Drone Nation, where we're going to have the release show for the Avata 360. We'll get all your questions answered. And if not, we'll do the research and find them on. So you guys have a great rest of your week. As always, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Good night.